I just lost my job, or perhaps maybe I was just laid off. These are probably the scariest 5 words that anybody can say or hear as we move and navigate through this downward economic spiral, economic shift, as the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell continue to raise interest rates as they push towards achieving their ultimate goal of shrinking the U.S. economy, reducing the housing market, destroying jobs, and crippling millions of Americans in the process, as they aim to bring inflation down to the target core 2% annual CPI. But in the meantime, there will be many casualties. And the biggest question now that pretty much anybody should be asking themselves is, what happens if you hear those 5 words? What do you do if you yourself have to say and come to grips of reality with those 5 words? I've lost my job. I just got laid off. And so the first thing that immediately comes to my mind is, well, go get a new job. Now, granted, this is definitely going to be easier said than done. And let me just apologize right now for my voice. If you guys have been watching me for the last couple of days, you know that I've been a little bit under the weather, but I still feel as though I need to bring you guys this information and these updates. I believe that I'm actually on the recovery side of this, but today I sound like I've been smoking for 65 years. So anyway, the question comes down to who's actually hiring? Where would you actually go work? And that's part of the problem with what's going on with the Federal Reserve and their attempt to get a better grasp on the money supply by ultimately creating further difficulty for employment to be a viable option for many. Their goal, in essence, is literally to suffocate and choke out income. They have to reduce the ability for people to spend, thus creating a demand destruction and ultimately possibly driving down inflation. Now, the worst part about it is that many experts and economists and analysts, bank CEOs, very wealthy individuals, they don't think it's actually going to work. So ultimately, with that being said, what will happen is they're going to destroy the ability for people to earn an income, destroy the ability for them to replace their income with a new job if they were to lose theirs, while prices continue to rise with inflation. Because this is ultimately really a global issue at hand, more so than just a United States of America monetary policy issue. This spreads worldwide, which is ironic because we are moving towards more than likely a central bank, central currency, possibly digital, which this would fall in line with that theory, but we're going to have to get into that in another video. What I want to talk about today is, what do you do? Where do you go if you were to lose your job or get laid off or even be fired? These are harsh words to hear, probably even harsher to consider, but I don't think we should be blind to the fact that they are a realistic possibility that could exist. And the best way to prepare for anything is to have a plan before it happens. With that being said, who's hiring? Comment down below if you know anybody, any industries, any markets, any sectors that are hiring. I've seen many comments come through in previous videos about employment opportunities, but I will say that most of those include risky activities that most people will not be interested in engaging in or even entertaining as they are in possibly law enforcement, correctional facilities, other industries like the railroad, which we know they'll take on employees, but they won't treat them right. And most people are not in a position to risk their lives or their livelihood and or further diminish their probably already low quality of life just for a paycheck. Now, there are government assistance programs out there for folks that need SNAP and food benefits and food stamps and EBT and Social Security and SSI and SSDI, while there's also a portion of folks out there banking on a possible stimulus check, another like a fourth stimulus check. Although we have seen some states issue their own form of stimulus checks, but odds are they're probably not coming. And if they were, it's going to be too little, too late. And for the government assistance programs, for the folks, the seniors, the elderly, the disabled that rely on these funds, they're not even keeping up with inflation and the future possibility of them even having the funds available to be able to financially cut the check. That is diminishing rapidly. So, quick search on the good old internets today tells me that educators are in high demand. Actually, one specific headline actually comes out of Washington State, as they are the state superintendent proposes a $10,000 hiring bonus for teachers. Now, I'm actually going to touch on that in a future video with Squirrel Tribe because I know she's going to have some very valuable insight as to this hiring sign-on bonus, as well as being an educator in general. It's a hot topic for her, so I'm going to wait and bring you guys a podcast with Squirrel Tribe. And the $10,000 sign-on bonus, it actually brings to mind the other opportunities that exist out there depending on your age and your physical ability. But that would be enlisting in the military. And I think certain branches of the military have even upped their sign-on bonus to $50,000. But again, these are life-threatening employment possibilities that not everybody's interested in just for the paycheck. So we have to really expand and build a database of employment opportunities now before it's too late. Perhaps even preparing yourself with the necessary training, building out your resume, getting the equipment you need now so that if or when it were to happen, you're ready. You just flip the switch. You're gonna go from A side to B side. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, before you had auto reverse on the tape players, the little cassette players, you had to flip the tape over, A side and B side. Just be ready for it. Just be ready for it. So actually, I came across this website. It's called Employee Benefit News, and it has a list of 10 fully remote companies hiring right now. This is actually pretty cool because with the remote companies and remote job opportunities, you could theoretically create an additional income source, adding redundancy to your income, saving, protecting yourself as you prepare. And hopefully with that, you'll take that extra money, that additional income, and you'll save it and you'll invest it. You'll pay down debts. You'll reduce your monthly overhead operating expenses. You'll tighten your budget, and you'll further insulate yourself and your family for the possible chaos that could ensue with the economic direction that we are trending towards, which is, pretty crappy, for lack of better words. So 10 fully remote companies hiring right now. It says here that the pandemic pushed millions of workers to shift to a fully digital workplace. But some companies were remote before the pandemic even entered the picture, and they don't plan on changing anytime soon. True story. By the end of 2022, 25% of all professional jobs in North America will be remote. However, Resume Builder estimates that 90% of employers will require employees to come into the office at some point during the week in 2023. In other words, it may be harder to find a fully remote option in the new year, which is why we want to do this early, which is why we want to do this now. I've been telling you guys that 2023 is going to be a mess. 2023 is going to be a shit show. 2023 is going to be a game changer for those who are prepared, and it's going to shine light on those who are not. And those who are not are likely going to be crushed, be collapsed, face collapse, and ultimately be wiped out, more than likely. In other words, that's why FlexJobs put together a list of remote-first companies that are currently hiring across fields and industries. These companies were either remote before the pandemic or remote since their founding. While the circumstances of the pandemic, and this is from Kathy Gardner, Vice President of Communications at FlexJobs, while the circumstances of the pandemic introduced many more people to the reality that remote work is a viable way to conduct business, there were already a number of companies whose entire workplace model was built on remote work. Remote first means it's part of the structural design from an operational standpoint. Gardner advises that those committed to remote work for the long haul consider working at a remote-first company where their preference is not only guaranteed, but an inherent part of the company's infrastructure and culture. Now, here are 10 remote-first companies currently hiring according to FlexJobs. Now, this is the part of the video where I tell you that you're probably going to want to take some notes and pay attention here, because this is going to be very important, very valuable. However, if you don't, or if you miss anything, or if I go too quickly, you can always rewatch this video as many times as you need to drill down on this information. So let's go ahead and jump right into this top 10 list. Automattic, that's with 2 T's or 3 T's actually. This web development company, primarily known for its blogging site WordPress, is looking for a JavaScript engineer and senior product designer. Now, this may not apply to everyone or the masses, but with multiple layoffs, thousands of layoffs occurring with companies like Intel and Microsoft, there's a huge portion of people out there that are going to be in search of tech-based jobs, tech industry jobs that will meet those qualifications. Number 2, Big Time Studios. This multiplayer game creator has contributed to notable titles like Call of Duty and Overwatch, and is now looking for a junior growth and analyst and community moderator lead. So we could deep dive in that. If you guys want, comment down below. We can put it into another video as far as what the qualifications would be for a role like this. But junior growth analyst and community moderator lead, to me, sounds pretty obtainable for many folks, as long as they're able to collect and analyze data and manage a community, possibly just perhaps be a crossing guard of sorts. Crossing guards, if you ever noticed, their job is to, they wear the bright colored high vis vests and they have a stop sign to protect the kids walking across the street. And they don't have to do too much. They just really moderate the traffic so that everyone's safe. So think of that as a community moderator. You're going to moderate the traffic on more than likely an online platform, a forum, board, a Discord, and just make sure everybody's safe, which I could actually use myself to get somebody to moderate some of my comments in some of these videos where these bots come through, because they are not keeping people safe. Do not engage with the bots with the fingers pointing up to phone numbers and the fake face that looks like mine and asking you to contact them on WhatsApp. Avoid it at all costs. If you want to reach me, my email's in the description. Number 3, the company is CareRev, and this company works to connect healthcare facilities to professionals from an array of relevant industries. CareRev is looking for an associate cybersecurity analyst and vice president of product. Number 4, GitLab. This platform, which helps coders collaborate, is on the search for a director of business process automation and paralegal. Now, I know there's a lot of paralegals out there. Pay attention. Now, I also think that the legal, the legal industry, the legal market, the legal business, that may be a safe industry to be in because we're going to have a lot of litigation, a lot of bankruptcy, a lot of need for the legal side. So you may want to look into that, but as well as coding. Coding is the future. We're moving faster towards a digital future, an automated future, an AI and technology based future, which could possibly be the reason why you say those dreadful 5 words of, I just lost my job or I was just laid off. Why? Because someone out there created the technology, created the code to create a computer or technology or a robot or AI automation to replace your job. Plain and simple. Be ahead of the curve or get left behind. Number 5, Lead Simple. This real estate software company is looking for a customer service associate and lead software engineer. You may want to look into that. Number 6, Scribendi or Scribendi. I don't know which one that is. This online proofreading and editing firm is hoping to hire an editor. If you know how to read, if you know how to read well, if you know how to check for errors, if you know how to use Microsoft Office, which has the proofreading and editing feature, which allows for you to make comments on documents, you may want to check this out. I've even had to have people proofread my own thumbnail and titles to make sure I didn't accidentally add an extra word or misspell something. This is a viable industry, which you could also take and expand on yourself as an independent contractor through websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and there's so many more that are out there that are available that if you guys want to know more about, that you can start tomorrow. You can actually start today with no cost, create your account, get it up and running, and start bringing in business. I mean, even if it's just a few dollars here and there, think about it. Think about it like this. Even if it's just a few dollars here and there, you start bringing in business. One, you're going to create the confidence in yourself that you can actually do it. Okay. That's huge. Right. Number 2, you're going to start building up a resume. You're going to start building up reviews, positive reviews, and you're going to get a history. And, you're going to have people vouching for you. And then number 3, you're going to hone your skills. Then you're going to become more in demand. Then you're going to start charging more. You're going to start bringing on regular clients. You're going to start getting consistent tasks, consistent jobs, consistent gigs. It's going to grow. It's going to snowball. I promise you. But you got to start. Moving on to number 7, Software Mill. This company is a software company and is looking to recruit candidates for their content and digital marketing positions. I don't even have to go into that. Content and digital marketing. You know how I feel about that, guys. I would actually encourage a lot of people to go that route. Candidates for their content and digital marketing positions, because I can tell you firsthand how difficult it is to create content, create YouTube channels, to be what I'm doing right now on camera, create, be the face, the voice, do it all. It's hard. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, as I'm continuously working with more folks who are in the infancy stages of getting this going, it's really allowing me to kind of humble myself and step back and realize just how difficult this really is. It's not easy. It's not easy to start. It's not easy to continue doing it. It's not easy to fail as many times as you're going to fail before you take all those failures to create your success. Very few people just come out the gate successful. And if they never experience the failures, then their success will be short-lived, because once they hit their first speed bump, the first hurdle, once they kind of get humbled themselves and realize that they are human, they'll probably give up. I'm only saying this from experience because I've had a few folks out there that I may have given a little too much help to start in the beginning that gave them this unearned confidence, so that when they actually started getting regular results from the work that they were doing, they thought that they were actually failing when they were actually doing really good. But because we started off a little too quickly, they thought that that was the norm. So for the folks out there who don't even get to start off like that, who don't get the alley oop, who don't get the push off, like trying to teach a child to ride a bicycle with training wheels, you just push them off. They don't even know how to start. When they actually have to do it on their own, then it's like, oh, wait, I can't do this. Well, if you think you can't, you're right. But at the same time, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not for everybody. Honestly, it wasn't even for me because I spent years in YouTube without ever actually being on camera, which is why I know so much about YouTube. But even still, it was like, nah, I just want to be on the computer. I don't want to be on the camera. But either way, I was pushed and I was compelled by some very motivating people in my life. Thank you for that. You guys know who I'm talking about. And here I am today. But I'm not going to say no one else can do it, but I will say that I do understand and realize how difficult this may be. And for those who choose to go a different route, still within the realm, I think it's a smart idea. Software Mill, this company is a software company which is looking to recruit candidates for their content and digital marketing positions. So you can work with a company. For instance, if you were to work with me in my company, you could help me with content and digital marketing positions without having to actually create the content. See what I'm saying? So it would allow you to get into an industry, which YouTube was a $25 billion industry last year, without you having to actually create it yourself. So now we're moving on to number 8 on the list, which is I'm going to say this wrong, I promise you. The Aurum One, maybe. An engineering firm, the Aurum One, is looking for a senior solutions architect and full cycle bookkeeper. So when you hear architect, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're designing buildings and drawing up plans and blueprints. Architect basically just means that they're laying out the groundwork of how things are going to work. And a full cycle bookkeeper just basically means, logging transactions for the accounts. Number 9, Toptal. Toptal helps connect freelancers with the right company and is on the hunt for an associate editor, and publications outreach specialist. There are so many freelancers out there. It's unbelievable. And they're helping to connect the freelancers with the right companies. An associate editor and publications outreach specialist. Basically, are you a personable person? Are you somewhat of an extrovert maybe? Where, think about it, freelancers exist in so many different ways. In the sense of content creation and TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and all that, freelancers can exist as videographers and photographers and video editors and script writers. These are all forms of freelancers. They are really good at what they do. However, they may not be really good at marketing, at outreach, at cold calling. They may not be. Odds are they're not. Meanwhile, there are so many companies out there looking to find these freelancers to help grow their businesses. Yes, we are on an economic downward trend. Stocks are down, crypto's down, the real estate and housing market is going down, the automotive industry is going down, but this is an economic cycle. We will be on an upward trend at some point in time. This is all cyclical, okay? Companies are not going to give up. Some may make it, some may not. Some will fail, some will succeed. Some will go away, new ones will be created. So the key here is connecting those companies with the freelancers to give them both a fighting chance. And being a publications outreach specialist is literally just being somebody who can pick up a phone, type up an email, send a text message, and try to connect to people. That's it. Number 10, Zapier. This web application automation service needs a senior data analyst and director of professional services. Now, with all these are 10, these are 10 fully remote companies hiring right now. Now, granted, the list can go on. I will actually search for more. If you guys want me to, just drop a comment, let me know. But at the end of the day, they're fully remote. So I'm going to bet that as long as you have a computer that has the ability for a webcam, possibly a strong, solid internet connection, That may be all you really need. All you really need. So if you have those, great. If you don't, perhaps maybe start working on acquiring those. You know how I feel about computers. The MacBook M1, MacBook Air. If you can get it on sale, $799, maybe $850. Maybe Amazon Prime is going to do another Prime Day deal on it or discount on it. Maybe you can find one secondhand on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or Let Go or wherever. But honestly, I would say make sure you have a good computer. Make sure you have a webcam capability. Make sure you have a solid internet connection, and start getting out there and identifying these opportunities and figuring out what's needed to qualify and be a viable candidate for these, and possibly even start them now and run them on the side. So you have two streams of income: your primary stream of income, your job, your 9 to 5 that you're going to every single day, and this on the side. And maybe even a third one. Get as many as you can. Stack as much paper as possible. Put it away in a safe place and work on eliminating debts. Just destroy and just completely do away with credit card debts, credit card balances, high interest debts. Pay them all off. Stack the cash, stack the paper. And we're going to start moving on to cash flow producing assets and investments so that we can be ahead of the curve, so that if perhaps maybe one day those 5 words strike you of, I just lost my job, I was just laid off, don't devastate you. Don't cripple you and your family to the point at which you can't eat, you can't survive. You're thrown out on the street, you're evicted, you're foreclosed on, you're now homeless, living in your car possibly, if you even still have a car because it was repoed, weeks before. No, I just lost my job. I was just laid off, but everything's going to be okay. I've got a backup plan. I've got a solution. I've been working on this for a while now. I'm actually happy that this happened. Now I have more time to devote to these other income streams that are going to be more profitable and produce better payoffs and returns than, this monotonous job of working at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or Walmart or Target or Starbucks. That wasn't getting me anywhere. You see what I'm saying? So if you guys are interested in more, just let me know. This video may not resonate with a lot of people out there, but I felt like I really wanted to bring this to you guys so that you were aware of what exists and what's possible, and help you prepare for what's coming tomorrow, besides just going to the grocery store and trying to buy up as much food as possible, because that's going to be the other thing. I've been saying this for months. The food, yes, there are potentials and possibilities for food shortages and increased food insecurity, but they're more than likely going to occur for the fact that food's going to continue to become more and more expensive, which food doesn't even fall into the annual CPI and monthly CPI reports because it's so volatile, because the price of food goes up so high. So with inflation continuously going up, or even if the Fed could get CPI numbers to come down, I guarantee you food will still be more expensive. Food will still cost more, and it'll still go up in price, but it won't hit the CPI numbers. So it doesn't actually, they'll pretend like it's not. You see what I'm saying? So then it's not even about having as much food as possible. It's the simple fact that most people can't afford it because they've lost their job, because they were laid off, because they were fired, or because their income from where they work isn't enough to sustain the food necessities that they have for their family, or that they're not making enough money, plain and simple, just to get by. I think my daughter asked me yesterday, she goes, you think I could work at Starbucks and make enough money? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I said, honestly, I don't think so. I said, I don't know how much they make, but I said, let's just assume that they make $15 an hour. And what it boiled down to is that they made $15 an hour and they worked 40 hours a week, that after tax, they wouldn't be able to afford the average price of rent in the United States, which is, I think, $2,000. So if they made $15 an hour, worked 40 hours a week, after tax, a relatively conservative tax bracket, they would make $1,950 a month. They couldn't even afford rent. So how are you going to afford somewhere to live? How are you going to afford food? Granted, this pushes us into another conversation of multi-generational living. A lot of families under one household sharing these costs, but eventually that's going to come to a head. The key The most important thing here now, especially for those folks who can't just run out and take on some of these jobs like becoming a teacher, you got to go to school for that. You got to go to college. You got to get a degree. You got to tack on all this student loan debt just to come out to get a job that barely pays anything, to go be a correctional officer, to go be a police officer, to go be a firefighter, to go join the military. Not everybody can do that. So for some, what they can do is they can spend the time that they have at home and get on the computer, get on the phone, and start finding opportunities that they can take advantage of from the comfort of their home with a solid internet connection. Especially for some folks out there who are concerned about their level of income dropping, especially some of the fixed income folks, the seniors, the elderly, and also concerned about bringing on additional income and it knocking out their benefits, which there are ways to work around that where you can bring on the income and retain your benefits, which we can talk about in another video. If you guys are interested, drop a comment below, let me know. I appreciate you listening to me and watching me with my voice being so jacked up on this one. I apologize. Hopefully I'm better tomorrow. But if you would check out this video here, it's going to be some valuable information in this playlist with money, finance, and economy and economic news. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you real soon. Bye.